Have you met your soulmate yet? Or think about it. Are you in the most amazing, the most powerful, the most emotional and really spiritual connected relationships? As you know, your relationships will affect your life. Today, I have somebody really amazing in my studio, a man who will answer all your questions about soulmate, what actually it means, how we can find them, and where that connection starts. Please, please give a round of applause if you're watching us, honestly, because you need to give a round of applause to this amazing man who is a personal development and communication coach for 25 years. Allan Knight is a former Zen monk, and I will let you learn all about him right in a minute. But Allan, thank you so much for coming into my studio today. I'm so excited to learn from you and to let you share this amazing message of Soulmate Revolution with people globally today.
You don't need me. You do it perfectly yourself. I should be interviewing you, not the other way around. You're a great communicator. You got great energy, and it's an honor to be with you here today.
Oh, thank you so much, Allan. I really appreciate that. Thank you. But as we both know, it always starts with our deep inside work with ourselves. And that's why I was so excited to have you today, because we're so aligned in terms of understanding where it starts and how it should work out and what you should do in order to communicate with other people, that I'm just so happy you are here. But as long as I know, right now you are in Canada, Ontario, is it right?
Yeah, I was born in Montreal, and then for 25 years I lived in Vancouver, which is on the West Coast. And 10 months ago, I moved back here temporarily to be closer to family and friends. But in 2 months, I'm actually returned to Vancouver. Probably what's going to be happening is I'll spend part of my time, maybe most of my time in BC, in Vancouver, and then part of the time in Toronto. But Vancouver is where I think I'm meant to be for the long haul.
Right. I love that. And I would love to hear everybody who is joining us right now. I would love to hear, where are you joining us from? Where are you based? And please let us know, especially if you're someone near Vancouver, someone near in Canada, because I'm sure Allan would love to hear from you.
They're not up this early, I can tell you that.
But it will be great to hear. It will be great to see where people are watching us from, because very often we're going really globally, we go internationally, and I believe that your message, Allan, today should be heard literally internationally, because it is something amazing what you do. So Allan, would you like to share with us where exactly your journey started? How did you come across this concept of actually thinking we need to understand what is a soulmate, the concept, where it starts from? Why did you go into all of that?
When I was 19 was the first time I was always a bit of an old soul, even as a young boy. I was very confused because on some level I felt that I had a lot of wisdom, and that maybe down the road I could be a leader or teacher in the world of some kind. And then there was another part of me that felt like an insecure little boy, So when I was 19, my father died, and my mother was diagnosed with cancer when I was 13 and told she had 6 months to live, and she lived for about 15 years. So my mother was the first role model for me of the power of the human spirit. I always sensed that the answer kind of lay inside ourselves. And so I traveled the world for a year, took off, trying to find myself. And then I had my first life-changing experience where I came close to dying on the desert one day, and I got scared, and I was terrified of dying. And at that point, I went from being an atheist to exploring, is there anything more beyond the physical body and the rational mind? And that led me back to Montreal, where I met some people at a bookstore who were living at the time a place called the Zen Meditation Center. And all these people, Olga, had calm, clear eyes just like yours. And I said, I want that. I want that. I want to feel that. And I moved in and lived like a Zen monk for 9 years until I missed women too much. And then I left the monastery. And that's the beginning.
Wow. That's so powerful. I love the fact what you mentioned that I went to find myself. And this is something really profound, something people missing very, very often, that the entire journey of relationships people starts always with yourself. You got to find yourself. You got to understand yourself. You got to dive deeper into yourself. So I really admire you for doing so, because I'll be honest, very often I drive around by myself, or I go away for a few weeks to just work on me, as you're saying, like find myself. But what I found out, not many people do that, because it can be quite scary. It could be quite a lonely journey. So what your advice would be on going and finding yourself? Because you took 9 years to do so. Do you think we need 9 years? Do you think that, how people could start doing that?
I didn't find myself in 9 years. As a matter of fact, I found part of myself during those 9 years. And in that, most people, when I teach people now how to become more self-mastered, how to become a more effective communicator, how to attract better quality relationships, they could fast track that significantly. You don't have to be a monk or nun to do that. I figured that out. But part of me was discovered. Meditated, I learned how to go beyond the physical body into what I call the Zen Zone. So that's what I did learn when I was in the monastery. But when I left the monastery and I was a bit of a basket case, I really learned that unless I integrate that with every other part of my day-to-day life, it was going to be limited. So that what led me to taking a master's in education and counseling psychology. My thesis was all about the quality of relationships with others is founded on the quality of relationship you have with yourself. And yourself is a lot more than just spirituality you're getting in the Zen zone. You need to integrate that into every facet of your life. And that's what led me to creating my 9-step formula, which is a kind of a one-stop multiple inner vitamin that helps people to grow quite quickly and then coach themselves for the rest of their life, staying in the Zen zone, building confidence, being focused, and starting to master their communication skills at a high level.
I must say, I really love that. First of all, not only it's easy, it's only 9 steps, but also you capture all these important areas, the confidence, the communication, the way how much you know yourself. Because very often people go into any sort of shape or form of relationships. It could be friendship, it could be relationship, it could be work relationships, and they are not healthy within themselves. But then the question is, how are you planning to build really good relationships if you're not healthy within yourself? So I love the fact that you are sharing that with us today. This is so super powerful. I love that. But would you mind to take us on this little journey? I'm sure obviously there is a lot more to learn, and I'm sure people can spend days and weeks with you learning from you all of that. But in a nutshell, would you mind just to share with us, a couple of few words about those 9 steps? What exactly is within those 9 steps?
Well, yeah, just to start it off, I'll say this, that when I embarked on becoming a coach, what I learned is people would be coming into my office. They admitted to me, some of them, that they spent $5,000 or $10,000 or $20,000 on self-development, spiritual development, personal development, which is great. I'm all for that. I will never criticize any course. I've taken a lot of courses and benefited from all of them, so I'm not here to criticize. However, you know the expression, Olga, knowledge is power?
Of course,
well,
yeah.
So a lot of people, when you ask a group, an audience, is knowledge power? Everyone puts up their hand. Well, to me, I believe knowledge, rational knowledge, is powerful in some instances. If you and I want to be a doctor, we better learn a lot of knowledge to be a good doctor. But what I learned early on is that when it comes to self-development, self-mastery, spiritual development, it's the opposite. The heart is power. Presence of mind is power. Compassion is power. Mental toughness is power. Yes, adding on elements of the knowledge is good. So what I started to realize when people started to come to my office and I would do my X-ray assessment, which I always do at the beginning of the process, many of them, after years and years of self-development, still procrastinated, still had some form of social anxiety, still lacked confidence, still were mentally scattered, had dysfunctional relationships. This is after years and years and years. So the light bulb went on at some point. I realized I want to do things a bit differently. I want to do it less as bringing people to learn from me ideas or for me to motivate them. I want to create a system equivalent to a fitness program in a gymnasium where if they go through it in 60, 90, 120 days, they can actually become inner fit and verbal fit to such a level that not only do they feel great and free, but they have a self-coaching system for life and are in much better shape to attract quality, amazing, what I call heart-centered relationships, including a soulmate as well. And there are many soulmates, but we can meet those soulmates when we've tapped into our own inner soulmate first, as you well know.
Oh, I love it. I love the fact you mentioned it. Oh, thank you, Allan, so much.
Could we do a podcast together sometime? Could we start our own podcast?
I think we should. I think we should, because this is so important. What you mentioned that is so hot and spicy. Connecting with your own with your own soulmate person inside of you. I think this is the beginning of everything. People want to have really spicy relationships. People want to have well-connected relationships. People want to have, really spiritual relationships, but actually they don't connect with themselves. And I love how you say that you can go and learn a lot, but actually you should start applying that onto yourself. Allan, I love you so much. Thank you so much for being here. It's amazing.
You're welcome. When it comes to soulmates, since we're talking here about Soulmate Revolution, when it comes to soulmates, I've been blessed at having different type of soulmates in my. I think we have many soulmates. We have friend soulmates, business soulmates, but we also have a twin soul, and we also have a romantic soulmate. And the reason when I talk about the soulmate, and the reason I focus a little bit on finding your soulmate, I don't think of us are up at night all night thinking, I can't wait till. Most people want to meet. But what I've learned over the years, one of my dear soulmates that I had in my life who passed away 10 years ago, her name was Susie. That was such a deep connection, such a deep love, dysfunctional. And a lot of things. I learned unconditional love because I learned to love her like my own little daughter. And I learned something interesting, that all these years where I kept thinking, oh, I'll be happy if only I met my soulmate, then I'll be happy if only. And after years of going through my own development, and now I'm at a place that if I meet my next soulmate, great. If I don't, I feel so content and happy. A soulmate will just put icing on or cherry on the cake. It's nice, but it's not needed. And I never believed that. I always think that I would need to have that someone else to really be happy and fulfilled. And in reality, the more happy and content I am, the more I say, you know what? If organically I'm meant to meet my next soulmate, great. If not, I'm happy to live out my life and help as many people as I can. And I'm fine with that as well. So I never thought I would get to that place of surrender and freedom to that level, but it's a great feeling.
It is a wonderful feeling. And I must say, when you're so in tune, when you're so content, just as you said, with yourself, then the world completely changes around you. Then everything just aligns, and then you meet your soulmate. But I really wonder, those people who are joining us maybe now, maybe they're with us since beginning, and I guess some people are watching us in Israel and also Dubai, which is amazing. I know we have more viewers, but please, those who are with us, let us know where exactly you're watching us from, because I would love this message to be heard around the world, because more and more people, especially during the COVID-19, they are thinking, oh my God, I need to have somebody to be happy. But just like Allan says, it's about your own connection, your own contentment. And I love the fact when you mentioned you can have different types of soulmates. You can have a business soulmate, you can have a friend soulmate, you can have a love soulmate. And I think this is really important to remember, because people sometimes confuse all of these. And I think sometimes they go between, okay, we are business partners, but now we also have chemistry and we have something more. Can we actually be like soulmates in terms of intimacy? Could you please elaborate a bit more on that? Could you please tell people more your thoughts on these different types of soulmates and why it's important to recognize who is who and when?
Well, it's a good question, Olga. And I'm the kind of person that doesn't like to get too caught up on the term soulmate, because we tend to romanticize it. When am I going to meet the soulmate of my life? I believe in soulmates, but I believe in really heart-centered connections. what does it really mean, soulmate? The way I see it, there's kind of what I call bipartite relationships and tripartite relationships. Bipart to me is like two individual personalities. They come together for whatever purpose. They might have a lot of things in common. They have a good relationship. They might even live like that and be happy the rest of their life. And I would never I want to support people in being happy and making the choices that they want. However, I think that the more we grow in our soul, the more we go spiritually, and we start connecting that part with the mental, with the emotional, with our action, with our communication, and we become more holistic and more conscious on all levels, we tend to attract like-minded individuals that connect to us soul to soul as the depth of connection, and then add those other elements that are there anyway. To me, that's what distinguishes between a soulmate, heart-centered quality relationship and, let's say, another form of relationship. Now, there are different types. I have amazing friends, and these are friend soulmates. We might have known each other from a past life many times, who knows? But they're friends, and we have a deep connection, and we have a soul connection, and it's wonderful. Then business collective with who I choose down. But I've attracted because of the work that I've done myself. The more we elevate our game, project a high vibration of love and compassion and wisdom, we're more likely to attract like-minded individuals and be more selective and careful about who we allow in to our inner circle. I'm not interested in enabling a dysfunctional relationship. I might love them from a distance, willing to raise the bar in themselves. We might have a superficial connection, which is fine, but they're not going to be a soulmate connection on a deep level. I don't know if that answers your question.
It does. It really does. Yes, because again, we have to remember that it is about going through layers of your own soul, first of all, and only then you can connect through those many layers with another person. But if you haven't tapped into your own soul, then you can't really tap into anybody else's soul. So I think it's really remarkable. And I love the fact how you definitely classify them into different types of soulmates, which is important. But then here we have a comment from Dawn Holder on LinkedIn, who says, you need chemistry with your soulmate. Do you think it's exactly what will determine whether you met your soulmate or not? Or maybe there are some other symptoms and signs of this is your soulmate? Like basically, how do you know if that's a soulmate?
Well, I hate the idea of kind of pegging people into categories. But I think that what distinguishes, at least for me, a friend soulmate is a more romantic soulmate. Like, you need to have some physical chemistry there to make it happen. But having said that, here's the thing. My mother is a role model. My mother was diagnosed with cancer when I was 13. She was told she had 6 months to live. She was a beautiful woman inside and out. She had about 10 operations. My father loved her unconditionally. By the time she died 15 years later, my father had continued to love her exactly as he did before. And the chemistry is there, but what happens when the chemistry is not there? If the chemistry is not there after a few years of being together, are you really going to stand the test of time? Is there going to be enough? So chemistry is great to add that element, but I believe there's different types of chemistry. I have a wonderful chemistry, whether there's physical sexual attraction or not. And if I ended up with someone where I couldn't have ongoing passion and lust and whatever, to me, it's peace and love and compassion and attraction and joy that's more important than the sexual attraction. If there's sexual attraction that lasts till a lifetime, fantastic. But it's not the be-all and end-all. The soul and the joy that I had for Susie, who was one of my soulmates, joy is what kept me together more than anything.
Yes, yes. I love that. I love the fact that you actually mentioned that it is important to have an attraction and chemistry, but at the same time, it doesn't have to be just like in relationships. It could be another attraction, which is emotional attraction, intellectual attraction, which will determine whether this is a soulmate or not. And it's really interesting because sometimes You meet people and everything is all right about them. Everything is all right. But you don't gel with them. You don't have the chemistry. And even though there could be seemed like perfect business partner or perfect like marriage material, but you just don't gel with them. And I think personally, I wonder what you're going to say about this, Allan. But I personally think when you have these, something is not right. I think it's a sign that something is not right. This is not your soulmate. Don't enter that field, even though this is a perfect material, marriage material or perfect business material. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, there are two things that I'm thinking as you're talking. One is you're right. Sometimes we meet someone and something seems to be missing. I have a friend who's in a relationship like that. She says, this guy's a wonderful guy. I make the checklist and he has all that I like, but something's missing. So yes, sometimes that deep connection is not there no matter what you do. Olga, I was going to say something else. That's a lot of people associate love with physical attraction. And they're, wow, that person is hot. That person is so attractive, and they fall for one another on that level. But what happens, I believe, in many, many cases, we're actually looking for mommy and daddy in a younger body. Many of us did not get the love and respect growing up. So our idea of love is connected to what I'm getting from the other person, as opposed to raising the bar and saying, I'm sick with dysfunctional relationships. I'm sick with codependent relationships. I need to finally accept, respect, and love myself like my own child. And then with that freedom, I could love without the expectation of getting so many things back. Just love. There's a freedom in that. And there's the ability to attract a deeper, more mature connection that may or may not have physical attraction as part of it. That to me is the goal for me. And that's how I live my life. And that's how I help people who are equally looking to achieve that.
I love that. I must say, honestly, your words are like music to my ears. Absolute music to my ears.
I don't know how I'm going to receive all these acknowledgments and feedback. I don't know. I think I got to go back and do some work on myself more.
No, seriously, you have done a tremendous work on yourself already. You definitely have. And that's why you're so wise. And that's why you understand this at such a deep level. And obviously you were working on yourself for 9 years being a Zen monk. And not only for 9 years, and I believe you still work on yourself and still learn, because I think we're forever on this journey of learning. But what I love, the fact that you mentioned already a few times during the show, that you need to love unconditionally. Just like your child. When your child comes to you and they've been naughty, you don't stop loving them straight away. When your child doesn't give you attention, you don't stop loving them straight away. When your child is not performing up to the level you want them to perform, you don't stop loving them straight away. Right? You might be upset, you might be cross, but you always, as a mother, as a father, you do your best to make it work with your child. And unfortunately, when we go into relationships, and I must say, Allan, I know right now it sounds very smart what I say, but I've done this mistake myself. Stepping into relationships when you clearly see this is just a great partner, marriage material, okay, you're going to be doing great together without really feeling it, without really understanding it. And then you see it's not going to work, and then you give up. But actually, what if you just try a bit more? What if you just practice a few more things? What if you grow that love? Just as you said, it's not about physical attraction straight away. Love can grow. So I think it's such a journey what people need to really step into and finally start learning more about themselves in order to get into really fulfilling and spiritually connected and really amazing relationships. But what you say there is it's just like music to my ears. I love that.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say the problem we face in the world, if we looked at the world around us, and the divisiveness, the political strife, the anger, the social justice versus the other side, people are not even listening to each other anymore. And I think the reality is people, we get so distracted. Sometimes we can get so distracted by our politics, our views, our upbringing. We appreciate our upbringing, but at the end of the day, if we don't love ourselves and we have a certain amount of anger and lack of self-respect and self-hate even, we're going to lash out at others. We're going to blame others. We're going to get into fights. We're going to get into wars. to me, I figured out a long time ago, I can't save the world, but all I could do is transform myself, take responsibility for me, and then share that with whoever is open to that. That's all we can do. But I think a lot of people, like you said earlier, are either not willing or don't know that the true solution to their happiness lies inside. And unless they do the inner work, they're just going to pay a terrible price for that.
Very true. Very, very true. And especially considering how many broken families we have, how many broken families with completely wrong family, like frames what is family, what is relationships, and then children are learning from parents who are broken, and then they do the same mistakes. And I know it personally because I did them myself. I've done so many mistakes simply because I didn't know what a healthy family is. I wasn't aware what relationship is, what is the woman role, what is the man's role. I wasn't aware of that. And I love the comment here from Don Holder. Thank you, Don. You're so proactive today on LinkedIn with us. Thank you. Don says, some people spend years without really knowing each other.
Well, that's what I meant by dysfunctional codependent relationships. Like Don is 100% right, and I spent years doing the same thing. What does that really mean? We kind of fill the space with having someone because maybe we're too lonely on our own, or when we go inside, we don't like what we see, and we don't take the time to really explore, heal ourselves, grow. So then we fill the space. Let's have somebody in our life better than nobody in our life. So a lot of people are living like that. They're true strangers in their own home, so to speak.
Yes, 100%. I agree with you there. And it's quite powerful when you start learning about each other, but based on when you learned about yourself more. Exactly. Because what you said earlier, that many people go into relationships looking for that mommy and daddy. And this is so true. Every man is looking for the role model of his mom, and every girl is looking for the role model of his father. Yes. Yeah. And the trouble is when the role model wasn't there, or when the role model wasn't really a role model, like anti-role model, this one they're confused because now they don't know who they're searching for. Don't you think?
Yeah, but it's interesting, Olga. It's not always man to woman, woman to man. In my pattern for many years, when I was attracting more dysfunctional relationships, I was attracting women who were like my father. My mother was a very warm, compassionate, caring woman. My father, I loved him, but we were scared of him. We were afraid of him. He had a lot of anger. So I attracted bitchy women. Oh, wow. Women who actually looked they looked beautiful, but not like my father. They didn't look like my father. But their energy, the projected energy was more like my father. And I was somewhat intimidated by them. But those are the ones that I wanted to be with because I wanted to win over them. I wanted them to love me. I wasn't coming from unconditional love. Only later in my life, when I healed myself and let that go and started to really accept and love myself more, that I attract to this day more loving, caring, nurturing women, strong women too, but that are more balanced in their energy, but not so angry anymore, not so bitchy anymore.
But right now you're proving again.
I love the way you do this. I love the way you do this.
Because I'm so excited. But right now you're proving the point once more in life that you are attracting what you're having in your mindset. And in your mindset, you wanted to win over your dad. And as a result, you were bringing this woman into your life. And the minute you changed your story, you changed your life as well. This is so powerful. And that's why whenever, for example, clients come into me and they say, I would like to meet my, soul partner. I would like to meet the one, or would like to find a husband. People talk differently about whom they would like to meet. And they say, I know exactly what I don't want. And I will say, that's wonderful. But how about focusing on what you want? Right? Because when you only focus on what you don't want, how can you attract the person whom you want?
That's very true. But I'll go a step further. In that years ago, when I wrote down exactly what I wanted, which is what you're talking about, I met that person, but it scared the crap out of me. So this is another thing that people don't realize about soulmate level relationships. I once read a book by someone who talked a lot about it, and she said, her name was Kubler-Ross, and she said, you could easily attract dysfunctional relationships, but if you want to have a high-minded, heart-centered soulmate relationship, It's not for the faint of heart. You better do the inner work together, because if you don't, and this is what happens when soulmates come together, just going skiing and go bungee jumping. It's not just for fun. It is fun, but it's also learn and grow and make a difference in people's lives. And so you get triggered. If you haven't worked on your emotional, psychological stuff and your soulmate, I have a friend who's running back and forth. They block each other from Facebook and then they come back. They block each other because they haven't dealt with the inner stuff yet, but they still have a deep connection, you know? So it's not just meeting our soulmate. The question is, are we ready, even if we do meet a soulmate, are we ready to be at a mature level of that soulmate connection and relationship? That's really the key.
Exactly. And here I would like to refer to this magical moment when it's almost like when there's electricity, but also there should be a light bulb. And without the electricity, light bulb is just a light bulb. But without the light bulb, the electricity is just electricity. And the way how I see it, the way how I envision the soulmate connection is when the light bulb and electricity comes together, and then everything enlightens, and they give the light to many people around the world, to many lives. It could be their children. It doesn't have to be something global. It could be even creating the most beautiful, loving household ever in the world, right? But it is about co-creating together. And that's how I look at soul relationships, as like soul mates, somebody who comes into your life and you enlighten each other life. Not only because you're codependent, but because you are so complete without each other, but now you're just completing each other and you are giving back. What do you think about it?
I think it's beautiful. I got to say something, exactly what you're talking about now. One of the greatest workshops I ever attended, it was a spiritual man, a wonderful man. It was on relationships. I don't know if it was soulmates. He said one simple thing. He said, the greatest relationships in the entire world are when you're with your mate, you're extremely happy. Mm-hmm. And when you are alone, you're extremely happy. That was the greatest message I needed to hear.
I love that. But let's face it, okay? I wonder how many people out of those who are watching us, and right now we are watched in Turkey, we're also watched in Bangladesh, and also New York and Dubai and Israel, which is amazing. We are going global, international. I love that. But I wonder, those people who are watching us right now, first of all, how often did you experience that? Being 100% happy on your own, just you, without your soulmate, without your husband, without your wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, you just being by yourself. How happy are you? Because if you're not, what happens? Allan, I'm sure you came across so many people, probably also your clients, who come to you and say, I'm so unhappy. I so need relationships. I'm so desperate to be with somebody. And then these desperate people go on a date and they sit with this desperation. They sit there being starving for love, being starving for attention. And only one thing what they do, they scare people off. Because
I've done that many times, I could tell you. or someone that I'd be with, and as a man, men tend to do, not all men, but a lot of men, and try to talk about your business and what you're doing and try to impress them. And I used to go on dates, and women initially seemed interested, and then they turned on 15 or 20 minutes gone by. They say, "You're so intense. You ask so many questions. You're like interviewing me." I got that a lot, I had to learn how to lighten up after a while, like you, smile.
Yes, I love that. Exactly, because many people turn a date into the interview. And let's put this way, nobody likes to go into interview.
Yeah, too serious.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
It's about bringing happiness, enlightenment, a bit of bubbliness, a bit of just like light and energy, because it shouldn't be intense. It shouldn't be like scary or desperate, because that will really scare off people.
Here's an interesting little test for people that could question how much they really love themselves. Those of the audience, if you have children, and I know that if you have a 3, 4, or 5-year-old, any amount of age, your child, if someone asks you, do you love your children? Do you love your child? Most people would say, oh God, they understand unconditional love more than anybody. Can you literally look in the mirror, honestly, and say, I love myself as much as I love my own child. And most people can't say yes. They might say yes intellectually, but they're not really living it. Most can't. And I never thought it was possible. And I used to think that that would be selfish and self-centered. Now I think it's actually the opposite. If I can love myself, I will then have the ability to love my children more and others more. If I'm dysfunctional and angry and pissed off and negative, that's not going to be very loving anyway, even if I'm not talking and walking into a room. But most people are either not willing or don't know how to love themselves. It gets back to the practical steps, and that's why I created the formula that I have to fast track people's ability to get in that Zen zone, accept themselves, love themselves, and start communicating effectively and masterfully in all their relationships. Like you do. You're an amazing... I should be asking you to go, hold on, why are you asking me all the questions?
So go ahead if you want.
How did you, for example, go from some of the negative experiences? What was the number one life-changing experience for you that got you on the path of your own inner soulmate?
Oh, Allan, this is a long answer, but I'm going to keep it very short. The one life-changing experience was when I was actually very little. And, well, very little, 12. I was 12. And I found out my dad, who I was considering was my dad, wasn't my dad, he was my stepdad, which to me was very heartbreaking because I was considering him as a father. But at the same time, because he wasn't really looking at me at that age as a daughter, he was more looking at me as a young lady. And he was trying to kiss me and there were some other things that really made me hate old men because straight away I was like against my dad. Then I found out he wasn't my dad, which was a relief because like, oh, thank God he's not my dad because that's not pleasant experience. But same time, my question was, who's my dad, right? Where is my dad? And then I found out my dad actually died 2 weeks after the wedding with my mom. And that really hit me. That hit me so hard. Until now, I remember how many nights and days I was crying. I didn't want to leave. I didn't feel loved. I didn't feel I was needed. And that really affected me massively. And then long story short, it was such a journey from hating men because of that experience. I felt like abandoned. I felt my dad left me. I felt like it's not fair. Life is not fair. Everything was not fair, right? I was so deeply unhappy and I was bullied at school quite a lot. Of course, I was attracting negative energy because I was negative inside of me. But back then I didn't know about that. And I started my personal development journey from the age of 13. This is when I learned how to fall in love with myself despite of what. But I can't say I fall in love with myself straight away. That was another journey. So, Allan, I must say that probably if I can put hand on my heart and say since when I'm the way I am, that's probably the last good 10 years of my life when I was getting closer to what I am now, but not even 100%. For the last 5 years, I would say I'm definitely a lot closer who I am now. And probably definitely for the last 2 years, I almost live like in this bliss, in this enjoyment, in this joyful ecstasy of knowing who I am, being connected with me, listening to my intuition, to my feelings, and bouncing off me rather awaiting the world to love me. So, it was such a journey. And that's why I can so relate to people who come to me and they say, I'm not confident, or I'm not in love with myself, or I don't, respect people. I feel people don't respect me. So many things because I've been there myself. So it was a journey, and I know it's not easy journey because I've been on it.
You see, when I listen to someone like you, to me, I don't mean to label people, but to me, there are people that what I would call teachers, and there are people that I call masters. Yeah. People who are teachers, it's very easy to teach the concepts of self-development. But when I hear you intuitively, see, this is what I mean about soulmates. You and I are probably some form of soulmate, friend, soulmate, whatever it be. And it's that I could hear in your voice and the way you speak that you're not just talking words. It's easy to talk the words of self-development, but you're actually walking them and you're demonstrating them by your eyes, by your smile. And you're not just an attractive lady on the outside, you're on the inside. And so I can feel that, and it makes me inspired when I hear someone who's really walking the talk. I'm more likely to trust their words and their wisdom than someone who's just spouting off good ideas. So I thought I would share that with you. Why am I giving you all these acknowledgments here?
Because you're awesome, and because the world needs to hear your message. And that's why I brought you to the studio, because I believe in your mission. And I want people to know more about that. I want people to learn more, especially about your absolutely amazing and phenomenal idea. Because what you just referred to, being a teacher and being a master, is really powerful. And I will let you talk more about what your idea is, but just to prepare people for that, it's really powerful to learn how to walk your talk. And Allan, please tell us more about this unique opportunity which you have for people who are willing to give back to the world, who are willing to step into their own greatness of learning about themselves, but also transform so many lives. Because I believe your unique gift of coming up with this idea must be heard across the entire universe, not only our planet. So please tell us more about that.
Boy, I never heard someone believe in me the level you do. It's unbelievable. I feel very blessed and very grateful to you. In a nutshell, I've been doing this for 25 years as a coach. I've been growing as a person all my life, and I continue to grow. But my intention was always to have a bigger plan. And now that I've coached a lot of individuals and help them to fast track their ability to attract amazing relationships from the inside out. It's through a 9-step program that I have, which is a basic program. 7 years ago, I was diagnosed with Parkinson's. And as I told you off the air, it's been a great learning lesson for me because it just pushed me to a deeper level of wanting to get to know myself more, be more loving, be more focused, appreciate everything I have, which I'm doing. And I'm grateful for. But I wanted to take my message out into the world, and I knew that it can't be just me personally. So I started a certified training program. And my goal with the certified training program is to reach out to people that either are coaches, but they don't have an existing self-mastery, personal development system like I do, and would like to plug into it and teach it, or someone who wants to be a coach, has never been a coach, but wants to be a coach. These days, everyone is trying to become a life coach. I think it's great, but this is not life coaching. This is truly, life coaching is wonderful, but this is a practical step-by-step inner and communication mastery program that within 90 days to 120 days will help someone achieve a high degree of that self-mastery and then have a self-coaching system for life. Now, aside from people going through the program, what I'm looking for are leaders. I want to translate my book called Mind Gone Wild into every language. I want to be able to train people in different countries, maybe find a leader in each country who then can train other people and build their own business, not just through coaching, but through the Train the Trainer program. And then I'll be quiet, is that, again, because I'm not 21 anymore, I want to be able to discern people that really grow through the system, some group of young people that could then take a profit sharing in the company, happen to me, could continue the work of the company, which is far beyond my own personality. So in a nutshell, that's what. And with the Soulmate Revolution, my idea is if we can get as many people through the Soulmate training program, then we could start a Soulmate network and people are meeting online and offline and connect in relationship. And then you bring soulmates together, it can change the world. So that was always my vision.
And this is a wonderful vision. I absolutely admire you for thinking that big and that global, because that will completely transform people's lives. Absolutely. I love this comment from Don Holder. Oh, thank you, Don. You're so good with us today. Great show. We all have a calling. Keep up the great work. And we certainly will. Absolutely. But Allan, I must say, I admire your vision, because I'm not sure if I told you about this or not, but my biggest dream, and I know many people think like, oh my God, Olga, that's so big. But I believe dream big, right? Dream big, dream so big that you have goosebumps when you think about your mission. And my mission is in this life, because I do believe in multiple lives, but in this life to help to reduce the divorce rate in the world. And I know people think like it's a huge mission. I know people think like it's impossible, but I do believe once you learned about you, exactly what you were saying before, once you learn about you, now you're stepping into a healthy relationship with another healthy person who is ready to connect and ready to produce healthy generations. Then you can create beautiful environment for more generations to learn from you. And what you're referring to is actually doing that all self-work on you, being a great communicator, teaching others, but also finding each other in this amazing network of spiritual people who are truly ready for soulmate connection. How remarkable is that?
Well, it's so good what you said. The way I see it, it's big vision with small steps. I used to get caught up in the vision and get frustrated because I wasn't achieving the vision very quickly. So yes, it's great to have the vision, but then you have to implement step by step and have the humility and determination to do the little things every day, or else we're going to get frustrated. But I agree with you. It's actually just talking with you and hearing your feedback and feeling toward this vision is remotivating me, you know. So you're helping me a lot as well. That's fantastic.
Oh, which is wonderful, and I'm really glad to hear it. Thank you so much, Allan, for that. Because, well, the idea for me is to give the voice to people who have this great vision. They have the great mission within themselves. They have a great message. Because I must say, lots of people contact me and ask me, "Can I be on your show?" And I must turn people down because I don't want this show to be a show just for everybody. These shows are for those people who have a message within themselves, for those special people who are really willing to transform 1, 2, 3 people or million lives, because then actually we can have much better place. And I cannot thank you enough, Allan. I cannot thank you enough today for coming onto this show, sharing your wisdom, sharing your valuable information, and also talking about your big vision. But how people who connected with this message of yours, how they can get in touch with you, how they can sign up for this, how they can learn more about this?
Well, the best way is to go to my website, allanknight.com. For one thing, they could access the 9 steps. There'll be a video, like a short video every 2 days sent to them that goes over the 9 steps. You could email me at allanknight.com. At this point, I'm doing complimentary 40 assessments and evaluation, whether it's someone who wants to go through the program for themselves alone, and that's fine, or somebody who also wants to be a coach and a trainer of the program. So I do a 45-minute complimentary assessment. Just email me, connect with me through my website, and I'd be more than happy to. And, you know, it's so kind of you to bring me on, your enthusiasm. You know, some people just they host it, but they go through the motions. You're not just going through the motions. You could see how passionate you are. And I hope this is not the last time we're going to be speaking together.
Not the last one. I could do that.
I'd love to find a way to work together with you in some way.
I'm sure we can do it. I'm sure we can do it because we have great vision to help many more lives. And when 2 people are having such a great, fantastic goal in life, then they should collaborate. So I'm sure we can talk about this after this show in more details. But those who join us today, thank you so much for joining us, for participating, for bringing your comments, for sharing where you are based right now today. But actually, I would love you to help us with this mission. Please help Allan, please help me to spread this amazing word of how important it is to work on yourself. And just like Shimnahan says, I am 100% happy all alone. We want that more.
Beautiful.
Of that. Yeah.
Beautiful, Chuban. That's beautiful.
Exactly. So let's have more of that. Please help us with this message. Please share this message at least with one person. Because if you share at least once, then more people actually can tap into this video and they can learn more. And for more videos, you definitely can go onto my YouTube channel. You will see many inspirational videos there with great people just like Allan, who is an absolute inspiration and such a great motivator and also educator. So you can watch more videos there. But what I will do, I will share, Allan, your details below the video, the link to website. Am I okay to share your email address? Are you okay with that? Do you want me to do it?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I have nothing to hide. Nothing to hide.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I'll share all contact details for Allan below the video on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and also on YouTube. So please do get in touch with Allan, because as you can hear, as you can see, he has absolutely amazing mission, which will touch so many hearts. So please help us to achieve this goal all together. And Allan, thank you so much for being with me today.
Now I'm going to have to go and spend 2 hours in humility in meditation after hearing all the compliments for you. I got to work on myself. I'm going into the prayer room.
Allan, but you are amazing. And you see, it is about really being appreciative of each other. And I really appreciate you for being here today, honestly, because all the way from Canada.
So that I just want you to know that.
No, sorry, I didn't hear what you said. Can you say it again?
I just want you to know that, just you're an amazing person. I've recently met you. I'm impressed with who you are, not because of what you say or how you look. Those are wonderful things too. But you've got a huge heart and you're destined to help a lot of people. And I hope that we can do a lot of great things together.
Thank you. This is so special. Thank you so much. Don't make me emotional, but thank you so very much. And particularly thank you for joining me so early, because I know back in Ontario right now, it's only 8 a.m. Well, now it's 9 o'clock, but it's only 8 a.m. when you join me. And
I have to get up at 6:30 to go have my coffee for you.
And thank you so much. But actually, that was also for the entire world, because people heard this today across so many countries. And I'm sure people will share the show as well, so many more people can learn about you, your great mission, and will help us to spread the word.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
So thank you so much, everybody. We'll wish you a wonderful weekend. And Allan, enjoy your weekend as well. Whatever you do, stay safe, everyone.
Bye.